Hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are well. I don't know if you can hear me or not this time. I've changed so many things around here. Give me 1 second. Get my old co host in here. There she is. All right, let me get back to you guys' chat so we can see if you can hear us or not, and we'll go from there. Anybody give me a hell yeah? All right, 10-4. Cool, good to see you guys. Blaine, Angela, Miss Cheryl Bull, Debbie, uh, Pastor Mo. Keep changing that name on me, Pastor, and it confuses me. Miss Karen, Mr. Charles Music again, Miss Dawn. All right, guys, we wanted to do this stream. We didn't really do this stream last year. It was kind of hard for everybody involved. We were very close to her, and hell, I remember the exact place where I was when I got the phone call and everything. But we wanted to do this to more celebrate than be sad. So I'm gonna bring KL in and let's see what she's got to say. Hey, Miss KL.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm getting my voice back a little bit.
Yeah, you sound kind of rusty.
Yeah, stomach's hurting still, but we're good. We're gonna roll on with it.
It's hard to feel sorry for you when it's self-inflicted.
Don't do stupid shit, kids. Moral of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely stupid shit. But anyway.
What's up? What's up, everyone in the chat? I'm not really quite ready for this, to be honest with you.
I'm really not either, but we got to, yeah, no more chips, she says. Yes, ma'am. I agree.
Did you do your rundown in the chat? I didn't hear that part.
I did. I've already said hello to everyone, and we are on to dogs.
You threw me for a loop here because you normally have a song playing in the beginning, so.
I did have a song playing at the beginning.
You did. I missed that. Sorry. I'm a little behind. Well, hello, everyone. I know that we were supposed to do this last night, but as we have already covered, someone was in dire need of recovery time, so we had to put that off. But our main focus tonight was just to have an opportunity just to give tribute to our friend Nini, who, as you all know, most everyone in the chat will know anyway, that we lost a year ago yesterday. And it seems like it was literally just yesterday, and it seems like it was 10 years ago at the same time.
That's very true.
Yeah, time has just flown by, and so many things have happened in the last year that it seems like, how could it have all just happened in a year? So I don't know that you can ever be totally ready to do a show like this, and there are a lot of things that I'd like to talk about. I'd like to talk about, current events and everything that's happening. We've had a lot of stuff going on today. I don't know if maybe we want to start with that, if we want to cover some Vegas things.
I'm fine with however you want to start it. I think she would. I know she's with us down here fighting, so yeah, let's start off with the current events and some things you've learned and want to tell everybody, and then we'll move on to whatever we need to move on to.
Okay, and are we having anyone else on?
We can
tonight, or is it just you and I?
I haven't invited anybody, but we can.
I did invite someone, a long lost someone, but I'm not sure that they could actually come on the show. Hopefully we'll see them in the chat. So but can you fill the gap for 1 second? I just have to step away here for 1 minute.
Sure.
Thanks.
With that, I'll say this. I mean, I do have new subscribers to the American Outlaw channel, and they don't know Nini. So for those of you that's going to listen to this a little bit later, this was a dear friend of ours, and she passed away again 1 year ago yesterday. And we're just paying tribute to her and the things that she did, and just the actual awesome person she was. Because I mean, she was hell on wheels. Now, don't get me wrong, but she was definitely awesome. And I think everybody here in this chat, I mean, we all had our ups, downs, all arounds, but everybody in this chat knows that Miss Nini was a great person. So, just a little backstory there, but. Yeah, guys, it's been a year. I mean, excuse me, we've been through a whole hell of a lot this year. Every American on the planet, but it doesn't seem like it. It does, but it doesn't seem like it's been a year. I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think I'm on a bigger lag than I normally am. Something's wrong here. Hey, Nick Cook, how are you? Hold on, guys. Just trying to see what my lag time is here. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Miss Sherry. Problem is, you can't change any of this stuff while you're actually live, so we're going to have to just roll with it. But it seems like we're on a long delay from the chat. Miss Kim, hello. I don't do very good at following. I mean, not following, but filling voids. That's more what she does. Oh, Miss Kim, I'll always be TV. I'm okay with it. I'll live with it. And she's backstage. See? My bad. I didn't know you actually dropped out. Plus, I got the picture up on the screen, not us.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just froze. Couldn't get my mute button or anything to work, so I had to hop out and come back in.
Oh, okay.
So, I know a year ago when we had so many things going on and we lost Nini unexpectedly, we had talked about doing a follow-up show. We never did that. Time got away from us, and there were details then that honestly, I mean, I don't think I could still even get into all of those now, or have a detailed description of everything that happened then. But I will say that, even the day that she passed, when she called me from the hospital, she was mad at herself because she had been preparing, because Mary Lou Danley's birthday is around the same time, and she was upset because she wanted to do a Mary Lou Danley show that she didn't get accomplished. And I mean upset, and she was joking about it. So I really miss her. She was just full of spunk and full of passion, but she was a true patriot. She loved this country. And I know that in current times today, she would be right here with us, picking all this stuff apart that's happening right now, and standing up for our president and standing up for this country. And I do wish and miss her every day. I wish that she could be here with us. But I know she's here in spirit, and I know that she watches over all of us, and And I know that she would want us to cover, anything Vegas related on this show because she had such a passion for Vegas and such a passion for finding out the truth behind Vegas. I know that, that she would want us to um, talk about everything that we might need to talk about tonight. And I don't know how detailed you want to get in all that, TB, but I know it's something she would want us to address.
I mean, wherever you want to go.
Well, how many of you listened to that crazy ass Joe Biden earlier? I think we'll start with that.
I did.
Yeah. What'd you think about that?
Unfortunately, I did. Saint, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, you don't wish death on anyone. That's not cool. Definitely sorry to hear that, but I don't know that president-elect office, man. That thing doesn't exist. I don't know. We making up fairy tales to run the United States? I mean, what are we doing here?
I mean, it seems that way. It seems that we've created a president-elect office. It seems that we've created a platform for this man to act like he's, stepped into the shoes of running this country. And boy, oh boy, did he lay it on thick today about, being true to this country and true to our constitutional foundation and the people that have that dedicated themselves to our electoral process, our election process, and what a clown Trump has turned out to be, and being an obstacle in our peaceful transition. And I don't know how about y'all feel about this, but I mean, it made me sick because I am absolutely disgusted by the fact that we have blatant, obvious evidence of the fraud that occurred in our voting process, in our election process, and the fact that we have Americans who have the power right now, especially in these swing states, to take a stand, in order to prevent what is happening. And it does dishearten me a little bit that we're not seeing more of taking a stand against that. I'm hearing a horrible echo.
I've got nothing here. I don't. The stream's not.
Okay.
I mean, the stream says it's running in excellent condition, but I know it's not. So I will mute and see if that helps. How about that?
Sure. So that was a huge disappointment for me, to hear that. But I do support the fact that I've listened to a lot of people discussing these key points about these swing states and the opportunity there is for we the people to stand up and and take action and prevent this fraud from taking over, which I obviously do not believe will occur. But this is an incredible opportunity for us as Americans and patriots to take back, to take charge of this process that that is protected by our Constitution, and ensure that that you are taking responsibility in your civic duty to to ensure that this was a fair and just process. And I really, you and I had a conversation about this earlier today, just even in conversations that we had about declassifying documents, releasing information, even releasing information in regards to the Kennedy assassination. And like I told you, I am truly disappointed and ashamed in fellow Americans that it seems as if, you can have this smacking you right in the face, the information that we're facing today with the fraud. It took me 20 minutes to find mountains of fraud, mountains of voter fraud that's been going on for decades upon decades. And it's documented. I mean, these are documented events that have occurred over and over and over in, elections over the years. And we just turn a blind eye to it. We turn a blind eye to it as a nation. And we turn a blind eye to the fact that, it couldn't be more obvious. You couldn't have more evidence in your face to clearly display that the Kennedy assassination did not occur, as we've been told. We couldn't have more information smacking us in the face that our government has lied to us over and over again. And it just seems that Americans wait until people in quote unquote authority positions qualify or quantify the information that that we have at our fingertips, and until they do, it's not valid. We don't consider it valid information. And I think that that is incredibly irresponsible for the people of the only free country left in this world, essentially, to just piss that away. I mean, it's really a sad fact. Now, granted, I do believe that that we will not see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. It will never happen. It will never happen. We will soon see clear and concise evidence of the crimes and criminal and corrupt activity that the Biden family has participated in over the years with foreign influences, not just China. But I think that we'll see that clear and concise evidence, and it will be proven to the American people. But what are we waiting for? Why are we waiting for that, for that to occur?
I agree, and I was going to ask you if you wanted to go, or do you want to save it for another show? If you want to go into what you think is going to happen from here on out to the end of the, or what would you consider a doomsday, or which is doomsday, should I say? You want to go into that on this show, or?
I think the only D-Day that we're looking at, I mean, what you are being told by, it started with the election. We had the illusion of an election occurring before our eyes when, you can watch the tickers going by, which we talked about this on our last show. You can watch the tickers going by, and you can literally see the mathematical impossibilities happening before your very eyes on the votes that Trump lost and the votes that Biden gained. We showed the information on our last live where there's a woman, I can't remember her last name right now. I think it's Harris, Beverly Harris, who's demonstrated years ago how you could access what was then ES&S software, but it's actually, or ES&S voting systems and Diebold voting systems, which is the same thing as Dominion and Sequoia voting. These systems don't change. They just change names. That's it. They have shell company names, but that the main system structure that was, backed by Smartmatic and, run on a platform, which was SolarWinds, which as of yesterday had a CISA security breach warning. And that SolarWinds supports thousands and thousands of companies on their platforms. They have access to their internal information. They have access to their data. They have access to their software systems. They have access to highly classified information, because those platforms are offered and operated on even in our military, in our defense departments, in the Pentagon, in the White House. And there was a backdoor security breach to all of these systems, including Dominion voting. it's quite obvious to me that this has been compromised. But Beverly Harris, years ago with black box voting, showed how these systems can be manipulated. And we demonstrated that with showing a documentary that she was in, 14 years ago. 14 years ago, this was occurring. This isn't new information, but we saw in our, before our very eyes, because the media told us it to be true, because the media told us that Joe Biden won the election. Then it came to be. It came to be across the states. It came to be as far as, certain individuals in our country and elected officials endorsing Biden in this position. It came to be. We went through that show. Now we've gone through the electoral process show, or the electoral votes today, which clearly demonstrates another level of corruption. I don't know how much we actually want to get into that. I don't have all my information gathered and ready to talk in great detail about that. But what we saw today, the electoral process that we saw today, that, this is a process that we have. And I'm sorry, I did skip I skipped the certification day last week, which was an illusion. That date didn't matter. We had electors gather today and submit their votes. But we had those electoral, a lot of those electors were only given the opportunity for a symbolic or procedural vote. And they performed those procedural votes just to ensure that, that the legal cases out there would actually remain valid. Because if you don't actually have that electoral process based on our Constitution, then those legal claims become invalid if you don't follow through with that process. But because of the fact that in certain states, you have these corrupt Democratic governors who then decide what electoral votes would be counted, you then have the dismissal of any Republican votes, and they're simply Democratic electors based on the fact that they claim that their states were, the popular vote was mostly blue, and that's actually not true. Your electors are supposed to stand faithful to their jurisdictions that they represent, their districts that they represent. So we saw a lot of manipulation today, a lot of confusion today, a lot of misguided information today. But if you look across the board at the mainstream media, which is influenced greatly by this corrupt system that we're facing, you would think that because of the fact that they secured their quote unquote all the electoral votes for Biden, that the swing states in particular, that we now have, that Biden has now secured that position. That's absolutely not true. We still have a process to go through here, and the true D-Day for me is January 20th. That is the true D-Day, when we have to swear in our president. But we still have to go through the process of the electoral votes being sent, and the president of the House then reads those votes, and then we have the opportunity for the House to actually vote on the electoral process. So we aren't done here by any means. But aside from our actual process that is in place, aside from that, if you then take into consideration the fact that we have valid fraud issues, and that we know that there's evidence of fraudulent activity occurring and foreign interference into our elections, I still firmly believe that we will have the military step in, and so we will have the fraud that will be evidence, that we will have the actual criminal evidence for fraud, and that they have that in their possession. And we go through the electoral process, and that process is then denied based on our constitutional protections. I see the military stepping in and and ensuring that our civil liberties are restored. So the true D-Day for me, even though I don't think we'll be waiting that long for, large bombs to drop, is January 20th.
There's some chatter about the 23rd being bombs dropped. I don't know what those bombs will be, but
Well, now let me just tell you, do you know why that is?
I will find out unless you're going to tell me.
Well, if you're looking at it from a Delta perspective, that would be the day that that would be the day that the wiki page was manipulated by a certain letter of the alphabet, and was manipulated several times. So, and it was in regards to a state funeral.
I actually remember that day.
I'm not married to that idea. The 23rd being could be, but
Well, like I said, we still got a long road to go. I wouldn't lose faith by no means. We can still win this. We're going to win this. Never mind, we're going to win this.
absolutely. I am 110% completely secure in the fact that Biden will not be president. As I've said before, I'm not saying that 100% secure in the fact that Trump will be president, but I am 110% secure in the fact that Biden won't be president. So, and I am 110% secure in the fact that, we will see disclosure on the activity that's taken place with the Biden family, with the Clinton family, with Obama's, with the previous administrations that, that technically, if you determine that these previous administrations, through the process of disclosure and, information that may or may not be in the possession of an agency that could handle national security issues, if that information could be released and considered, treasonous, and we have criminal activity occurring, then we could be looking at, these previous administrations not being applicable to, for the last 57 years. I mean, all the way back to the Kennedy administration. So, that obviously will have an impact on how our country has been running and is currently run.
Get this mute button off. Are you still getting echo or no?
No, I don't have an echo now.
I've been muting myself, but you never have an echo before. I don't know.
It was just for a minute there, and I don't hear it now, so it's fine. I haven't been able to keep up with the chat here. I don't know if you're.
Yeah, I'm watching. Yes, for it has been a year already. Welcome, by the way. Yannick, I see him come in. Welcome. I already told you, hey, Angela, look, hey again. In the chat before the chat actually started. So. We're talking about Hunter Biden. Crazy how that all blew off now, huh? Now we're going to talk about it.
Well, it's not blown off. I mean, there's an active investigation in the state of Delaware right now. There, that they won't speak on because it's an ongoing investigation, but it's certainly not. It's not going away. I mean, there have been a lot of distractions since that information, originally released, but that won't be going away. There will be disclosure on that. There will be an investigation that will be revealed, and there will be consequences for that action. I firmly believe that we are not seeing what we're seeing play out. We're not seeing all the things that we're seeing play out as pure coincidence. That is not what is occurring. We are going to see actions taking taken against the criminals who have been, raping, pillaging, murdering, stealing from our country and our American people across the world, really. I mean, we have been under the control of some very evil people for the last several decades, and it's time for us to take our country back.
Agree with that.
So, I'd asked a few people too if they wanted to come on and they wanted to have anything to say for Nini, the tribute we have for Nini. So I don't know if we want to open this up to, let some people come on and say a few things.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
For Nini. So if anybody's interested in coming on and sharing a memory, or if you have anything to say about current events or your experience with Vegas, or a memory you'd like to share about Nini, we welcome that. Not dropping the link in the chat, of course, but
No, I'm not. But I will get that link to you if you would like to come on and say something. I think we're on like a stagnant norm.
I think so too. I was going to check that here.
My stream says excellent still, but sometimes it says no data, and then sometimes it says excellent, and then I don't know.
Yeah, we definitely have quite a bit of a lag going on.
Usually I run into 5 seconds, but it seems like we're at like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's quite a lag. And it's kind of hard to concentrate on one subject right now. And I do have this focus for, for Nini and the tribute show. I could go on and on about what's going on with current events and some very odd anomalies that I see with just mainstream media, with TV personalities, with the ties that I see to things occurring right now, and how things are playing out. Boy, it really is. We are living in the show. We really are living a movie, and I kind of want to separate that now from this current show, and maybe we can do another live about that this week if you can, so we can focus more on current events and what's happening. Plus, I'm not so sure how long we'll have access to platforms like this, so I'd like to try and talk about as much as we can, but I do want to maybe separate that and focus more on Nini and Vegas, and maybe we could focus on her work, the information that she brought forward, her obsession with Mary Lou Danley, and just how dedicated she was to finding truth. And I know that you were recently on a show.
I was. First time,
Which was
first time
interesting.
ever. It was very interesting. You're right.
Very unexpected. I was quite shocked about that.
Yeah, well, something needed to be said, and I said it, and I didn't get to listen to a whole live, so I don't know what else was said before that. But I felt the need to go in there and say something that I knew was wrong and did wrong, and at the same time, I needed to, which I should have did a long time ago, was clear you of that because you had nothing to do with it. So I busted my hot rod ass right up in there and told that truth. So as far as the rest of it, I'd have to go back and listen to it and make any. I can only imagine, but
Well, I don't know. I didn't listen to it either. I did listen to your information. I did listen to your contribution in the show, and so I'm just gonna, I want to go into detail about that if that's okay.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, because I want to make sure that people in the chat, and because this show is about Nini, and I know how Nini would have handled this. I know how Nini would have wanted. She would have wanted us to talk about this. I honestly didn't want to talk about this. There are a lot of things about Vegas, especially in regards to one recent thing that came up that um, that was unexpected for me. And it's not the first time. There have been other things that have come up that are directly Vegas related that have to do with current events and current players in what's happening in today's world. That pop up. But one thing in particular that's popped up recently, and that's in regards to the CISA security breach and this Solar Winds company, which was actually bought out by a company called Silver Lake Partners. And Silver Lake Partners has been a company that I've been researching for the last 3 years of my life, due to the fact that there were significant ties to Vegas participants and Silver Lake Partners in particular, which is a company that also bought UFC out, and Dana White works for. And so, I know that that is something that, that she would want us to talk about and want us to, get into detail about, but especially with it being so significant in current day events, because as you know, and some of the people in the chat know, I truly believe that what happened in Vegas does have everything to do with what's happening current day. I do feel it's directly related. So, but I'm not interested in what I'm not interested in, and really honestly would avoid, outside of the fact that you decided to participate. I'm not interested in any drama. I'm not interested in, the ridiculous, mundane, immature, personal attacks on each other. I have no interest in that anymore. What is going on in the world today, is so large and beyond comprehension for most people. But it gives you a completely different perspective of what I would like to see, in this world, of what I would like to contribute in this world. And although, I do still feel that, that people who have participated in nefarious activity, whatever level that nefarious activity may have been in, they should be held accountable for that. But I'm not the judge for that activity. I am not here for their judgment day. I acknowledge that there are several people in the past in regards to the Vegas community that will have a judgment day, but it's not for me to be the one to to hold them accountable. They have to hold themselves accountable. But aside from that, the show that you recently went on, the reason why I'm going to address it is because of the fact that I think Nini would want us to. I think Nini would want us to talk about it. I think that she would want to make sure that that we address a few things, and so I will. And the show that you currently went on was the NSERV show that occurred on was it Saturday night? Saturday night, right? Friday night?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday night. And this was a show that I believe CL was um, given a platform to discuss. Well, I'm not really sure. I don't know if it was for her to discuss her experience as to what happened when she was in Vegas. I'm not sure, because the part I heard was focused completely on things that occurred online and her interaction with people after the fact. So I think that that's what it was more about, but I could be speaking out of turn on that. I don't know. But the part I heard had everything to do with activity that was occurring with interaction with people on the internet. And so maybe you could fill in your part here on your perspective and why you decided to hop on there.
Well, just some things that I knew of, and I mean, it wasn't like I said. I should have done it a long time ago, but when when a certain video came out, or I'll just say it, Melissa Ramirez video came out, they all thought you had something to do with it, which you had zero to do with it. You always took the blame for that because you were always quote unquote pulling my strings. So, but the truth of the fact is that you didn't know. And there was some comments that were made in there uh, by sock accounts, and I let those sock accounts go. I've actually talked to that person too, and they know that I told them. But that was, had nothing to do with you. And I just kept hearing them say that and say that, and uh, finally I just said, "Screw this! I'm jumping on. They want the truth. They can have the damn truth." Basically, I riding my ass right back in there. In there. Well, once they finally let me on, but I mean, it was just to clear some things up that, to be honest, should have been cleared up by me a long ass time ago.
Okay. And so do you want to share what that outcome was?
I think the outcome for Miss CL was okay. I don't think that it was okay for Secret Safe with you, but I mean that they wanted the truth, so I gave it to them. If they got either you accept it or you don't. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I just am going to give my perspective, on that
Yeah.
on that whole event. And forgive me, I know we talked a little bit about this earlier today, so if I forget something that you happen to remember, which is probably not going to happen, just remind me.
Well, I had a long 2 days. Okay, long.
Yeah. What I listened to, there was a okay, because this is not, I'm not covering this because I'm interested in this all starting over again. That is the absolute last thing I want to do. I can't sit here and say, I really don't give it any thought. When I think about Vegas, I don't think about, interaction that occurred after the fact, after Vegas. I don't think about, the things that, and I could go on and on about things that occurred and things that happened and the people that were involved. I could go on and on about that, but it is truly not my focus, especially now. When I see what's occurring in current day events, and I see the players that are involved, that is what I think about. That is what I focus on, is the actual event itself, the players that I know are involved, and I consider a lot what I know to be the fact that what was supposed to happen in Vegas didn't happen. It was derailed for some reason, and those are the things I think about. I don't think about, you know, the interactions I had with people after the fact, the people that, you know, that I had, you know, bad blood with. That is not a focus for me anymore. It was for quite some time, mainly I think because I was in such shock about how certain things played out, and I really couldn't understand, or, you know, or basically, I mean, what it really boiled down to is the interactions that I experienced, especially, you know, after a certain period of time, which would have been after the first anniversary. I felt that I was in a position to only consider that, you know, that I was being treated the way I was. I became a target the way I did because my opinions and my research changed and went in a completely different direction, and I then became a huge target for that. And that was something that, you know, that did come into mind for me when you were on that show the other night, because I heard NSERF say to you, um, as you, the main focus, or the main, um, I guess, point or agenda that was there when you got on there was to find out who certain characters were, uh, you know, that were playing out and attacking people on this YouTube platform. One being this, gosh, I can't remember the name. Um, Bandit, the
Bandit.
bandit. Yes, and Justice for Who, which I can get into that. You know, I can get into those details as to why I think that it's just how, you know, how the story played out is rather interesting to me. But you know, and you know, so that seemed to be the focus. And you know, you said your piece on who you thought these people were, and then you talked about the other two YouTube characters that turned out to be one person that honestly had no business um, sticking his nose in and you know, and riling up a bunch of crap that was completely unnecessary. And you know, I was under the impression at the time that you know, this person and myself, that we were, you know, I mean, we were acquaintances. And it really rubbed me the wrong way that this person would, you know, would do things intentionally to fuel a fire. I mean, it was just stupid, you know. And you cleared that up on that show, and I didn't know who that was, and that it was because there was a person who went out under two other names and made a bunch of comments about CL, and I think secrets. I don't really remember what the comments were. I mean, this has been over 2 years ago now. So I don't really remember exactly what the comments were, but I know that I got the blame for these YouTube personalities, and I had no knowledge of who this was. Um, but you know, this person was interjecting themselves in something that just to cause trouble. I mean, honestly, that's what they did. They just thought it was funny, so they caused trouble. Not a friend of mine, acquaintance, but you know, that was something that really was a thorn in their sides for quite some time. And I know that you cleared that up, but then the focus for this Justice for Who and Bandit. And one thing that NSERB said when you were all talking, because it seemed like outside of like a very large emotional outburst by one, but it seemed to me that UNCL, you know, ended on somewhat cordial terms, I guess. Kind of that's was my impression. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's how I took it. And sort of was making a comment and saying, you know, that we were, you know, we all used to work together. You know, and I don't know what he meant by that exactly, but I guess meaning the Vegas community, that we all kind of worked together and we all had the same, you know, the same focus. But you know, and he made a comment about it was okay that we all had different opinions, but it all got derailed, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but and that really struck a nerve with me, because I just want to say something that you kept saying. You kept saying you did 118 things wrong. And I don't know why you kept saying 118, but that was the number you kept using, 118. And I have to say, there were things that were done wrong by many people. There were things that, could have been said differently. There were, conversations that could have occurred that didn't happen. There were a lot of things that, that could have occurred, but, I'm just coming at this from my perception, but, I've had a lot of time to think about this, and what I see that, that was wrong, or the situation that was presented that night, Saturday night, and how he said, we all had different opinions, but we're all working together. What occurred, plain and simple, was that, we became a target of this community because we did have different opinions, because our opinions changed drastically on what we realized actually occurred in Vegas versus what our path was prior to that. And, I felt that it was somewhat misrepresented by you saying that, you did 118 things wrong. I mean, there were things that occurred that, that there were reactions to. There were videos that were made. Were there videos made intentionally to get under people's skin? Yeah, I mean, that did occur. But what I saw, or what my experience was, is that because I shifted my focus, because there were things that opened my eyes to what I feel actually occurred in Vegas. That became an opportunity for people, to make me a target and you a target. And, so it wasn't about the fact that, that we all had varying opinions, and, somehow we veered left and, and caused this riff. Plain and simple, the riff was caused because we had because our opinion changed. And, that's plain and simple what occurred. We went this way on our research, and it wasn't okay. And it became very clear publicly that that was not okay. And as listening to that now and looking back, and what I heard being said was that the reason why, in their opinion, that it went wrong is because you did the Melissa Ramirez video, I think, or the your lying video or whatever, which had nothing to do with either one of them, from my recollection. Okay, negative, I'm wrong.
No,
Okay, so nothing to do with either one of them. But because you made that video, and then there were comments left on that video, and those comments, were left out there for people to read, that's how you became this horribly wretched person out there that allowed all this disrespect for CL in particular. And how dare you do that? And I mean, to me, I just will be honest, that to me, that is such a deflection of the topic, that, it's, I don't understand how that became the focus, over the fact that, we were researching things and, saw things completely differently. And it veered into, you allowed comments to be left on your channel that were disrespectful. So therefore, you became the fungus of the community, and I'm your puppet master. So I'm actually to blame. That I cannot understand, and I do not agree with, and I do not support, and I will not take responsibility for, because you cannot be responsible for what other people say. I cannot be responsible for what other people say. I am responsible for my opinions, my feelings, my thoughts, and where my research was taking me, and I own up to that. I still stand by it. I still stand by the same thing that I discovered 2 years ago. But that has nothing to do with these comments or these YouTube personalities that popped up all over the internet to start attacking people. Completely not related. And so, I just felt like, it just seems that, still 2 years later, there's such an agenda of deflection occurring, instead of focusing on the fact that the only thing that happened, that happened, and I truly don't know how the four of us in that particular group became the crux of the community, and how we destroyed it all. I truly can't relate to that or understand that.
Right.
But that's how it's presented, and that's simply not the case. All we did was, I decided that I was going to pay attention to the Melissa Ramirez video because I'd never really looked at it before. And as soon as I started looking at that, along with the fact that we had body cams coming out at that time that were incredibly suspicious activity occurring around Reno and Haven, you tie those two things together with those body cams that were coming out at that time, and that was a recipe for me to open my eyes to what actually happened in Vegas, at least where the concert is concerned. And I have a right. I have a right to that opinion. I have a right to that opinion, and you have a right to your opinion. And this was something that you and I had talked about separately outside of the group of our four, because we were sensitive to the fact that we were in a group with a survivor. And so, we did have a few conversations, not a lot, I mean, very few back then, where we were really, really looking at this information and really suspicious of the information, but it had nothing to do with that said survivor at all. It had everything to do with the body cams themselves, with that particular video in that parking lot. And and all of a sudden, because we did focus on that, we focused on that with the live with Paladin and that, I don't know, faux investigator, and the live that they did together. And then you focused on that in a video that you made independent of me. I had nothing to do with the video you made, even though I got the Puppet Master Award for that too. And then all of a sudden the focus becomes the comments that were left on the video that, honestly could have been easier to provide evidence of had the original commenter not deleted his comment in the first place. Because even, when the original commenter, who was Secret Safe with You, deleted that comment, then all of the information that was left under that thread, that comment thread, was gone. And so it became easier to, in my view, honestly, sway that story a certain way. And in regards to swaying that story, it was swaying that story to include and blame others that weren't involved, which one would be Paladin. So I just wanted to put that out there, that that this was not and I gotta say, I don't ever want anyone to be, I don't want anyone to be like, just massively attacked for their views or their opinions, how they, how they perceive something, whatever, however it is. Everyone has the right to their opinion. Everybody has the right to their, to the position that they take. It does become a different story when you present yourself on the internet, as a participant in the event that is the topic. And, one in particular is that faux investigator. I mean, nobody became obsessed with that faux investigator because of who he is, or the t-shirts he wore or whatever. It became a subject, a topic, because he placed himself in a position to become a topic and a focal point by, claiming to have evidence, by presenting this ridiculous video in a parking lot, by, putting himself right in the middle of an event that, there was an entire community researching. It wasn't about becoming obsessed with that person. It became about, providing your position, or providing insight, or providing, your opinion on how much this person's lying, and it's right in your face. And unfortunately, that same thing occurred with CL, because she had, and I mean, I understand that she claims she made a mistake with some of her story, and I get that, and it is what it is. I'm just saying, that sometimes when you put yourself in a position where you're sharing information, and that information seems to sway a bit, then you do put yourself in a spotlight. And by all means, stay out here and defend yourself, stay out here and defend, your position. But, understand that you are putting yourself in a position to be in more of the line of fire than just someone who has an opinion because of, the, what you're claiming you experienced or took part in. And then it changes a bit. I think that was a big concern for a lot of people in the beginning. I didn't even know that when she and I started talking, or didn't realize that. It, came to my attention much later, but I understand how, that can be very difficult to face. It can be a very difficult position to be in. But it also, you have to take the good with the bad. And, I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't at the event. I don't claim to be at the event. But I threw myself into research about it. And I became a target. And I chose to face that head on. And I will still continue to face that head on, regardless. And, and I can hold my head high and not have to worry about the attacks that I experienced, because I know that I'm being true to myself and what I believe occurred. And as long as you are in that same position, and you're being true to yourself and what actually occurred, then the attacks are just, should be water on your back. I mean, really. And I mean, there are people who have, that have gone through, documented, where, where there truly isn't a question of what occurred, in certain situations. Or there are people, successful people who, who get attacked every day for, for, what they're successful in, or how they got to be successful. Or there are, this is just part of an experience that, that can happen. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, in the end, you have to take the good with the bad, and, you come out stronger. If you can digest the information, or you can focus on your true self, your true story, your true intention, and you keep on chucking. You can't let it affect your daily life. So I hope that that's not where she's at. You know what I mean? I hope that this was just a a way for her to, I guess, share her experience or vent, or I'm not sure, but I hope that this isn't something that she lives in still every day.
Well, I hope that too. And you know, I left her on, I guess, as good as terms as I could with her. And again, I've said it 100 times on 100 different streams, and I'll say it again. I wish her the best. Everything about it, I wish her the best. And but I'm gone. I'm big gone. I don't think about that shit either. Like I had discussions with you a long time ago, which it took me forever, but just I wanted even the Truth Bomb name out of it. Like I wanted it done. I wanted all the videos off my channel, even though I still have the other Truth Bomb channel because I don't think the videos that I made should go away.
Well, I don't either because, Vegas is a part of who we are on the internet. I mean, it always will be. I will always identify, my YouTube side of life with Vegas. And honestly, it is a part of my life. It drove a lot of, what I researched today, why I researched today, opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't even realize existed in this world. And I'm honestly very thankful. I'm very thankful that I did throw myself into research the way I did, that I did dedicate, a portion of my time in my life to finding truth in that, because it has given me, it's given me an extra drive or an extra incentive, an extra passion for where I'm at with what's happening today, with where I'm at with this country today, with where I'm at for how I view everything today. And I'm very thankful for the people that I have, that I have in my life because of my dedication to Vegas. I'm very thankful for that. And the things that happened along the way that were shitty, I take it now as everything is a learning experience. Everything that you experience is, you have an opportunity to learn from. Excuse me. And I feel that, I had some incredible lessons in life from my experience with Vegas. And I don't regret any of it. I really don't. And I don't regret it. I've had a lot of people, I've had a few comments even recently in regards to some people that, are still in chats about current day events who talk about my, what I believed in the beginning with Vegas and their first interactions with me, and what our topics of discussion were and that sort of thing. And I don't regret the process that I went through with Vegas, the period of discovery that I went through from day one. And I was there day one on the listening live as the event played out. And I heard it on the scanner because I saw that, a post going on Facebook in regards to the event that was going on. And then this person on Facebook was playing the scanner the whole time. So I real time, was right there listening to it. Obviously I wasn't there, but I was right there from day one, deeply immersed in Vegas because, obviously it was something that caught up in all of us. It became a part of all of us. And I don't regret any of that because it gave me the opportunity. I will not once at one point ever look back on that time and say, well, I didn't give that a chance. I didn't give that position, that viewpoint a chance. I didn't give that the opportunity I should have. Baloney. Because I went from point A and then a 180. And it was simply because of my research and what I was researching. It pure and simple. And I did have, a friendship in my life that, that influenced my thought process. I'm not saying that, that was intentional. It was me that I allowed that friendship to influence my point of view, because that's how I treat my friendships. I'm loyal to the people I call my friends. And so, I gave every aspect of Vegas, I gave it the absolute, entirely full opportunity to be true. That's what happened, or this is what happened, or you know these things occurred, and I couldn't I can't say that there's one thing that I didn't consider, or that I didn't thoroughly research, or that I didn't give a fair chance to. But for 2 years now, I know what I know. And I know that as far as that concert is concerned, and what occurred at that concert is absolutely not what they present to us. Absolutely not. I know that for a fact. Period. So I don't regret any of the experiences that I had through that time. And like I said, I'm thankful for it, because it's shaped who I am today. It's shaped how I research today. It's given me that additional drive to really dig for information that has helped me understand what's happening now um, greatly. You know, and so far it's pretty much been spot on. So, I don't I'm cool with all that, you know.
Me too.
So, and I understand why you went on the show. I understand. I honestly can't say that initially I was thrilled about you doing it. I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? I think I even sent you a message, after I heard it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Why would you do that? And but I understand why you did, and I appreciate the fact that that you wanted to separate the association of the topic at hand and myself. um but I also feel that it's important to clarify, this the focus there, the focus of we all had varying opinions. I've heard that a lot. It was okay for all of us to have different opinions. We work together. Well, it seemed to not be okay for TB and I to have different opinions, because that's all we had was different opinions, and all hell broke loose. And it was never our intention. It wasn't my intention, and it wasn't TB's intention for the community to blow up because we had different opinions. That wasn't. We were just true to our opinions. We were true to what we saw. That was it. That's all we did, was stay true to what we saw. There was never any, there was no wedge in the friendship I had with CL. So then I went in a different direction, that I attacked her to try to get back. None of that happened. That is absolutely horseshit. That didn't happen at all. I simply, took some time to look at a video that I'd never bothered to focus on, and Paladin can attest to that. I mean, I don't know how many times, we had a conversation about that video, and I would not, I just sloughed it off, really, because, um, I mean, from the very beginning, because I believed what I believed, I felt like, studying that particular video of this, girl laying in the parking lot, I just felt like it was, I don't know, like morbid in a way. you know, it was not something that I wanted to focus on, because I felt like it was, disrespectful, morbid. I just couldn't do it. It was not anything I wanted to focus on. I was completely and totally focused on Paddock the, what was going on in the hotel, his, his life well before Vegas, and what all that entailed, his business partners, the connections for his business partners. I see Paladin is in here. Hello, Paladin. Yeah, you're right. He talked to me about that a lot, to try and keep my mind open. And I felt like at the time that that I did have my mind open, but I didn't, because, I kind of closed off that part of exploring what occurred in Vegas, because I think there was a part of me too that never wanted to believe that it was a lie. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to consider that, that would be possible. And I know that I did that because I knew someone who was there, and I knew them well, or thought I knew them well. And there's no way. And even, when she and I um did go our separate ways as far as our friendship, I still, I said, um, I think, I, there's, I believe that she believed what she saw, um, because I just didn't feel like she was capable of deception at that level. And I said it to you, I said it to Pellet, I said it to many people. I just didn't feel like that was possible, you know. And I'm not going to go down that road, but that's how I felt. So I did close myself off to, to that part of the Vegas story, um, not being possible, that it could be, that there weren't people actually injured, that that what we saw could, be an entire lie. And then, you know, when you really throw yourself into these videos and you really start to see what's going on, and then when those body cams started coming out of the Reno and Haven area, right? The Reno and Haven area in particular, and the shenanigans that you saw over there, that is when I started to go, what the hell is going on over here? You know, I mean, I kind of feel like, I recall it like it happened last week. You know what I mean? Just the shock that when you're watching these body cams, and this was before we started dissecting the parking lot video, right? Do you remember, or do you? I don't know if you do or not, but I remember us talking about, those body cams and just going, what in the hell are we watching here? This can't be, this is fake. I mean, it was so blatant. It was so blatantly obvious. And then, I started to think, that's when I started to think, I mean, it doesn't even it's not logical at all. I just can't believe it. But, you hold on to that, you hold on to that part that you want to believe is true. So, I started to think, okay, there was this drill going on, right? There was this drill. And so, they're continuing, with the drill, like this, the main headquarters for the drill was on this Reno and Haven. And, they're continuing with these mock exercises, as there are, there are shooters, because, then, I mean, you have it all. I don't know that the average person who could be sitting here listening to this right now could really even absorb or understand. How could you think that? How could you think that somebody was sitting there acting on a street, and they're real shooters? But the fact is, when you're presented with this completely different lie, at the press conferences, and oh, one shooter, lone wolf, no, so then you think the cover up is, oh, there were multiple shooters and they don't want us to know it, because Vegas will go to shit, go to hell in a handbasket, and no one will feel safe. And so, they had this exercise and it was hijacked, and it wasn't the shooter in the room, but it was these multiple shooters that you then heard on the radio, on the scanner, on the body cams, on the on the dispatch logs. Then you think, oh well, they're covering up for these shooters. You remember the process. I mean,
Trust me.
I feel like
well.
I feel like I'm reliving it right now. But you go through this when you get so deep into one event, and you are deep into it. I mean, you spend hours a day, trying to dissect information and understand what's going on. And you can really get caught up in those details, and then you have this deep state bullshit that, I mean, that was the point, this order out of chaos to get you to, I mean, it didn't matter that some of this stuff didn't make sense. It didn't matter that, to the normal person, it didn't matter. But to us, every single detail was extremely important. I mean, you had to dissect every single detail. And then, when you're working in a research group with someone who was there and experienced it, it just, there were so many levels of what we were trying to assess and figure out. It, it was heavy, it was heavy. But when you had the ability to kind of take yourself out of it, and and just logically assess what you're seeing, and start to really see, take it all in and break it down, then you start to realize that everything that you were shown, the concert, the hotel room, the shooter, all of the things that you see, that had really nothing to do with what actually occurred in Vegas that night. It had nothing to do with what was actually happening, or the events that I feel, anyway, the larger events that that still have an impact on what's happening in current day. I feel that the illusion, the show that you were given in Vegas was just the curtain on what was happening behind the scenes. And so, but I'm covering this again. I want to make sure that people understand this, because I've seen some comments, oh my God, we're rehashing this how many years later? Well, I'm doing this for my friend Nini, because I know that Nini to this day would still be, updating you all on where the hell Mary Lou Danley is eating breakfast.
Yes, you.
And what she had for breakfast and what time she ate it. I mean, she would still be, focused on finding some truth, or trying to make some sense of that situation, along with what's happening current day. And I want to honor her memory by talking about her, covering what she would want us to talk about. And I know that what happened Saturday night, that would be part of her focus. And I didn't want to bring it up because I have any interest in starting any personal tit for tat with anyone, because I do hope that this isn't something that CL in particular holds on to every day. I really hope she doesn't. I really hope that her life has returned, or has some sort of normalcy to it, and that this that these kinds of things, especially things that happen on the internet, isn't consuming her life. The rest of them I really don't care about at all, if you want to know the truth. I mean, I'm just being honest, but I do hope that she isn't living that every day, you know?
Right.
Um,
And I don't want. I mean, again, this wasn't to hash anything down or go after anyone because it's not my wasn't your intentions, right? It definitely wasn't mine. And you just put it out there, and it is what it is. And
yeah, and honestly, I will tell you this. What would be fascinating for me is, I know you have some new viewers, and I would love to be able to. I would honestly love to be able to. I know that Paladin and we talked about doing a Vegas show, and we still need to do it. I mean, there have been so many things that have happened in life, even recently, that it just, so many things that occur to kind of get you off track. And then we have all this stuff happening in the world, and the country right now that is such a major focus of, I think, everyone's life, but especially ours. Um, that, it's hard to focus on plans that you had for certain shows or whatever. We talked about doing a Vegas show, and there are certain things in particular that we want to cover. But I think it would be fascinating. You got to write it down. I think it would be fascinating to have our current audience, which I think most everyone in here was, maybe not everyone, but most everyone in here were pretty involved in the Vegas community. But I would love to have other people, quite a large group, of people that to join, the current people, have a Vegas panel, let's say, that, have all kinds of varying opinions. Cause hey, I am cool with all kinds of varying opinions. I am. I mean, there are people that I talk to, on a regular basis that don't have the same viewpoint of what happened in Vegas that I do. And I can have conversations with them. They don't hold my opinion against me, or they don't hold it as a personal attack, or they're not scared of my opinion because it might reveal their secrets. You know what I mean? And so, but I would love to have a conversation or a panel, where we are discussing the many details of Vegas, because there are so many details that even people who think that they know a little bit about Vegas, but they weren't in the community per se, right? They think they know about Vegas, but they don't know about Vegas. You know what I mean? They don't know those, the details. A lot of people have never even, they may have watched a body cam or two, or they may have seen, a clip of a body cam, um, on a, on a media outlet or something like that. But, to know the things that we know, to see the things that we've seen, to understand the many, 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 many layers, and to hear about it, I think that would be pretty fascinating to have that kind of discussion with people. And I don't know, I don't really know how you can get people to care about it. You know what I mean? I would like to think that if people, even just knew a sliver of what we know, that it would captivate them to want to know more. I mean, some people choose not to know, or not, they don't want to know, so they ignore it. But I think that there would be people that would really be fascinated about, the layers in Vegas that they didn't know existed.
right.
You know, so
I would be down for a show like that as long as it turned into a shit show. I'm definitely over that.
yeah, I don't think that it would have to turn into a shit show, but I think that we would have to have access to people that, that would be one. I mean, it's not like you could cover all that in a 30-minute span. You know what I mean? So you'd have to have people who would want to be interested in hearing about it. But you would also have to probably have access to an audience that, you'd have to pull from another platform. So I just think that, and for for people to really kind of dig into that information to understand why, Vegas people, there are quite a few Vegas people who do think that what's happening at current day has a lot to do with Vegas. And it's interesting because I'm in a couple of different groups, and I share certain information in one group because, they have a Vegas background. So they're going to understand why I share it in this group. And then I don't share it in other groups because they'll be like, what? How how is that possible? And it would take you an entire 2 days to explain it. You know what I mean? So I don't know, that would be an interesting show to have. But I do hope that, that Paladin and I do get an opportunity to, to have the show that we had talked about having on Vegas. We just haven't had a chance to get all that information together yet. But it is pretty fascinating. And I think if you take the time to really digest the information and, kind of break it down and understand, the focus of what we would talk about, which was actually after the quote unquote event, the concert itself. It was after the fact, went on for 4 hours after the fact. If you really focused on that, you would have to understand that, there was absolutely something else happening, something going on that was very important. And that's still to this day a very, very intriguing topic for me. And it's really what I focus on more than anything, with Vegas. So, and did anybody ever say they want to come on and share their thoughts about Jen? No Paladin wants to come on. Charles, Shady J. I know there were a couple of other people, Angela, that may want to say their piece in regards to their activity with Vegas and topics that were brought up the other night. Hey, Genji, I haven't seen you for a while.
3D.
Oh, really? Oh, hello, Marie. Hello, Heaven's Gate. Hey, Jig Gunderson. I agree, Jen. I could always talk about Vegas. It is I mean, honestly, it's kind of weird because I realized over the last couple of months, I have to refresh my memory a little bit on some things because there are some things that are kind of fuzzy. I never thought I'd forget. When you're so you're so into it and you're so, deeply involved in that research, you think you're never going to forget it. But there are things that, that I talk about that I just think to myself, how can you just like, how can you as the average person, or people that are involved in Vegas, how can you know this? How can you know that this is the case, that this occurred, and just ignore it? Or it's not significant. I mean, I think about that with Paddock's business partners, the fact that he had business partners that were on the city council for Henderson, or or on the commission, that were associated with Sisolak, need a spoon or something. That that his ex-girlfriend shared a phone number with, one of the heads of UMC, whose husband was the crisis management contractor for the LVMPD, and the nicknames for those people went right along with the names that were of the three women that were in the room, that allegedly Mary Lou Danley rented or, stayed in. I think about that and I think, how can you hear that and dismiss it or think, oh yeah, that's there's a perfectly rational explanation for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was so much of that stuff, that so many things that tied Paddock to, prominent figures in the community, to the freaking LVMPD, to, the city commission, or the councilman that got appointed, no less, I think in Henderson. And nobody said a word about that. None of this stuff, they knew, an hour after they identified who the shooter was, they knew who his father was, and about the bingo parlor that he ran, and the psychological issues he had in prison, 48 years ago or whatever. They knew all that shit, but they didn't, they never covered, not one time, of, the business relationships that Stephen Paddock had with councilmen, that had relationships with Steve Sisolak. They never talked about any of that stuff. How could that be?
Power today.
I know. I mean, he built his whole governor's platform on that event. It's where he started campaigning for it. And that's another election that was rigged. I mean,
oh yeah,
totally rigged.
Down to Joe himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Completely rigged. And for a reason. I mean, there was a lot of corrupt activity with the SWAT team there. With the when the event occurred, the SWAT commander was on leave for abusing his power of attorney. He stole from an elderly person, and that's a big issue. And that is a big issue in Las Vegas in particular. These power of attorney appointments through the courts, and how they steal their property. And boy, was that tied to, I could go on and on with this stuff, but these power of attorney appointments and the abuse that occurred in stealing from the elderly, putting them in homes, or putting them in like psych wards or whatever, deeming them not capable of taking care of themselves, and they would steal their property, they would steal their money, they would abuse their bank accounts, and then their homes, they were always in homeowners associations, and then they would go delinquent on their taxes, because most of the time their houses were paid for. So they'd go delinquent on their taxes and their homeowners association dues, and these homeowners associations would then, they'd be awarded the properties. And this happened over and over and over again. And wouldn't you know it, the land developments that Paddock was in, they were neck deep into that scheme. It's crazy. It's bizarre. And when you really look at all the information, and then the fact that, there's still an active LLC. I don't know about to this day, but, not too long ago, there's still an active LLC for Paddock, that was active at, one of his main business partners in California, with him as, as the partner, the owner of the LLC. He still owned property in Texas. So did he die?
Hot chocolate.
I don't know, but I don't see anybody saying they want to come on. So if you want to do another one of other shows this week, I have no heat.
Oh gosh, that never got fixed.
It's 32 degrees outside.
You're kidding.
And I just got a text from my wife that says, "Can you come please keep me warm?"
Oh, do you guys have a portable heater?
Well, we do, but it's at the camper, and I told her to get it there.
That was brilliant on your part.
I make some great decisions. It happens, man. The way I roll.
Yes, Chris, you can have some hot chocolate. I'm about to go make some. Well, I want to just thank everyone for coming. I know you've got to go now. So, I mean, I could literally sit here and talk for hours about Vegas.
I don't want to cut you off either. I'm not trying to cut you off anyway, but
before we do go, maybe we could schedule a show if people do want to talk about it. Let's see a show of hands in the chat for who would be willing to come on a panel, and and we can rehash Vegas all you want on a show in the next week or two. And hopefully there were people that will actually step up to the plate and say yay, because boy, nothing would make Nini happier than to go over details of Vegas. Oh, Dalen Borden, what's up, Dalen?
He's been here.
Has he? I haven't been keeping track of the chat very well. Hopefully there are people that would be interested in, if you're not saying that, and you can always email T, but I think that would be fun. Jen G will do it. She'll come on. Has she ever come on? Has Jen ever come on the show before?
Yes, I believe.
Jen G has?
Yeah.
What
I met Jen G.
Heck? Where was I?
Where the hell was I? Idaho.
Yeah, I know. I just don't remember her coming on a show. Yeah, that was Little Kraken, who would like a hot chocolate. Well, if that is something that, no, I didn't think she had. She says she hasn't. And Dalen will do it. I'm sure Shady will do it. Well, we'll make her do it. She might not do it willingly, but she can come on. Cheryl will do it. I'm sure Cheryl will get on here.
Well, maybe I'll get more prepared and maybe bring up some of her old videos or something.
Yeah, let's do that before the end of the week. We can get something like that together. By Saturday, let's say. Between now and Saturday.
Probably. I'm not. Oh,
awesome.
I can't do it Friday night because I have a.
Okay.
Any other night should be.
Cool. All right, Heaven's Gate, you want to come on and talk about Vegas too? Or anyone who listens to this live and hears that offer and they would like to come on and participate, you can leave a comment on the live, or you can reach out to TB at, what's your email these days?
American Outlaw TV at protonmail.com or Truth Bomb Live at Proton.
There you go. Y'all can come on and talk about Vegas. I'm going to walk away from the chat for a second because I've got to go start making hot chocolate. So
I'm going to play a little song and then we'll get out of here. So go ahead and say your goodbyes and roll credits.
all right. Well, thanks everyone for being here, and I look forward to our next show.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming on.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, guys. I'm going to finish this up the only way that I feel it should be finished up. And you guys know the song? Everybody keep fighting for America. Love y'all. God bless. And see you next time.
I never meant to call you when you sorrow. I never meant to call you when you pain. I'm the one who wants to have you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you bathing in the purple rain. I never wanted to be your weekend lover.
All right, I'll stop for a minute. I think.
Hello.
Yes.
I just want to say, and I'm only going to address this once, but I got a message. I didn't see it, that there's a live going on right now. We're not doing this.
No.
I'm just saying, yeah, I'm just going to say to everybody, this is not going to be a back and forth. You know, this wouldn't even have been brought up if it weren't for Nini. I just want to make that very clear right now. Say what you want to say, whatever. I'm not interested in that. You know, just if that makes your day, go ahead. But we're going to do our Vegas show and we'll talk about Vegas stuff, but we are not doing this back and forth ever, ever, ever again. So I just want to make that clear for anybody that was in the chat, for anybody who watches this video later. You know, that is not what we're about, and we're not going to go down that path. So more power to you, but no thanks, not happening.
I agree,
And
100%.
so I just want to make sure I say that. So we're going to have a good Vegas show, and we're going to talk about, you know, actual facts or, you know, information involving Vegas, and we are not doing the shit show. So again, thanks everyone for being here tonight, and I'll talk to y'all soon. And love you, Nini, forever and always. All right. Bye-bye now.
I want to be some kind of friend. Hey. Baby, I could never steal you from another. It's such a shame our friendship had to end. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple freedom, but you can't seem to make up your mind. I think you better close it. Let me guide you